Okay, so this is some basic metalworking processes. So here I've got some aluminium bar, some cylindrical bar like so, and I'm going to mark this out. The way we can mark out on metal is we can use a scribe, which is like this, which is quite sharp and used for scratching onto the metal. But here I've used a blue permanent pen just to mark onto the metal so you can see it a little bit better. I'm going to put it in the vise using vice guards. This stops the vise from damaging the metal. If you were marking, say, a circle, you could use something like an odd lead calipers, and using a punch, you mark the metal like so. So this is a ball pin hammer and punch used for marking the metal, which helps then locate the leg. You can also use things like an engineer's square then, which squares, makes a nice square line across the metal. So that's an engineer's square like so. I'm using a hacksaw here, so you can either use a large hacksaw or a junior hacksaw like that there. Doesn't really matter as long as you cut the metal nice, just off the line as you can see here. Be careful because the metal is hot and it's going to be sharp. And you can see I've just cut off the line. It's quite a rough cut, so we need to then smooth that face off. If I was cutting, say, sheet material like this sheet aluminium here, I could use a tin snips. So this is a tin snips, a bit like a scissors for metal, and I've mounted the tin snips in a metal vise to hold it nice and straight for me. Or you could use the guillotine like so. Keep your fingers well away from the cutting blade underneath there. Place the metal in and hold it securely, pull down the long handle, and it cuts through the metal really, really easily, and you get a nice clean cut. So that's the guillotine. So as long as it fits under the blade, it will cut it like that. Really nice clean cut, straight cuts. Now I've come back to my bar, which has this rough end, and I've put it into our center lathe, our metal lathe. I'm putting it in the chuck and tightening the chuck with the chuck key. Never leave the chuck key in the chuck. I then tighten it up. I'm now going to use the tool, the cutting tool, which is in the tool post, and I'm going to pull this down for safety. So pull the cover down so nothing can spin off. And we're going to be wearing safety glasses or a face shield, whichever you feel most comfortable wearing, to stop any bits of metal flying off at us. I'm going to move the carriage across with the cutting blade, or the cutting tool, sorry, located onto it. And what we're going to be doing is taking the cutting tool across the face and what we call facing off the metal, which leaves a nice smooth face. So we're using the cutting tool, locating it towards the edge. As you can see, I've started at the lathe here and off it goes. It's spinning the metal round, so the tool doesn't move at all, it's just the metal. And then I'm moving the cutting tool across the face, facing it off, and it should leave a nice clean face for us, and nice and straight and smooth as well. So you can see I'm moving this out of the way, turning the lathe off, checking the face, and you can see nice, smooth and clean. I'm then using a center point then. Now this is going to mark the center point for us to be able to drill a hole into the end of the cylindrical bar. So I'm just marking it like so. It doesn't have to go too deep. So just marks it and then pull it back out. So I slide that back, and if I check, it should leave me with the very center point there. I can then use a drill bit located into the lathe itself, so I don't have to put it on a pillar drill. I can just use a drill bit at the end of the lathe on the tailstock, wind that forward, and that's drilling into, and again the metal's moving, the drill bit you'll notice is not moving, the drill bit's stationary, and it's going in, and you can see the swarf or the scrap metal coming out of the cylindrical bar. So it's just coming out like so. So we're drilling a hole into that. That drill bit there is 3.3 millimeters, which is going to be perfect for tapping a thread, which is the next process we'll look at now. So this is called a tap. So this is going to tap an internal thread into that hole. So I'm just putting some cutting fluid onto it, which will help lubricate and cut the thread. So here I am twisting the tap into the hole. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one full turn with the tap and then half a turn back. And that half a turn helps bring all the loose metal that I'm just cutting out of the way, so it's not going to get clogged up. So one full turn, half a turn back. So 360 degrees and then back 180 degrees. Like so. Once that's done, you should be able to then screw a 4mm screw into the hole. So a 3.3mm drill bit, and then a 4mm tap allows a 4mm screw to be able to thread into that, like so. Another way of joining two pieces of metal together is a process called a pop rivet. So here I have used the punch to mark the center of these two bits of aluminium, which I want to join together. I'm now going to pop them in the pillar drill, like so, and whenever we're drilling metal, always make sure it's held down in a vise or with a clamp in some way. So this is just held in the drill vise, like so. In the ridges, it can't come out. And here I am drilling through the center of it with the pillar drill, using the bit I've just located with the punch. I'm going to drill through, taking my time. Careful because that's going to be hot now. So take your time, might when I need to leave it cool. So I'm going to take that out, and then I'm going to find the other piece which I've also drilled as well in the center. That's the rivet, that's our pop rivet. And what we're going to do is we're going to locate the thicker end through the two holes. So I put them in the vise together, like so, in between the vise guards. Pop the rivet through, like that, so you can see it on the other side. And then I'm going to find my rivet gun. So that's in there like so. Here's my rivet gun, like that. There's a hole in the end, which I'm then going to locate on the thinner side, like so. So I'm going to locate that into the hole, push it in all the way. There we are. And then all you do is you squeeze the handles together, and as you squeeze those handles, it pulls the pin through, and as it pulls the pin through, look, it makes a fat end on the other side, and that fat end, it squeezes it together. So you've got a nice sort of domed head that one side, and you've got a fatter end on the other side, which you won't see if it's on the inside of something like that. That's permanently joined together. That's pop riveting.